Hello friends, hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So yeah, without wasting any single second, I just want to move on with the topic very immediately because I was very interested and excited to refer this topic with you guys actually. Okay, now let's start with the statement. In my first video of machine learning, I said machines learn from experience as humans, right? So now how machines recorrect their mistakes by experience? Also, how machines perform from their learning experiences, right? So this is what the exact statement where it makes the feel is very interested about machine learning, why machine learning, what is machine learning and how machine learning. So guys, today our topic is about probabilistic model. Now I start with the importance of probabilistic model. By this you get to know why probabilistic model made machine learning such an interesting concept to deal with. Fine. So now I start with the importance of probabilistic model. Probabilistic model in machine learning is the use of code to examine the data. That is, whether the data is complete or incomplete, or it is right or wrong. Still more, any data is missing. Still, do we need any information to add on? Okay, so to bring such confidence to machine, on whatever the data was collected, till now whatever the data was fed into the machine, or is it enough, or still anything is missing, we need to add. Okay, so we'll be having some predictions, right? So to signify and deploy those predictions, we would undergo with some data analysis. Okay, data analysis in the sense to do in this way, to do in so and so manner, we would have some framework, right? So that framework is provided by this probabilistic model. This is what clearly a probabilistic model mean. Okay, so what the probabilistic model do? Okay, a probabilistic model delivers a framework. Okay, so now a probabilistic model delivers a framework from actually it starts the thing from the initial point what learning is. Okay, for accepting actually what learning is. So it starts from the initial point what learning is, and then finally it gives a best outcome. Fine. So that is how probabilistic model defines how important the predictions to be done perfectly by the machine. And this is what the exact point where it states why machine learning would be such an interesting concept. Okay. So now before I go with this clear concept of probabilistic model, we just have to be very clear with three terms. They are feature, instance and target variable. For all these three things, I just consider a similar example for all these things as a TV pricing data. Okay. So now in the consideration of the first thing, going with feature, yes, feature is nothing but a synonym with the term variable, column, attributes and fields. So what is meant by feature clearly? Now I just take an example. So I just said TV pricing data, right? A TV pricing data. So now my first thing is feature. So what are the features according to this TV pricing data? Then my considerations will be size and type of the TV. That means either it is a LED or smart TV or plasma, whatever. So these are all the types of TVs. And then what comes like company. Okay. So all these things comes under features of the pricing data, right? Next, our second point. So our second point will be instance is a synonym with the term row, observation, data point, value and case. So what is clearly meant about instance? So instance with this example. So for this TV pricing data, as with instance, I take size and price. Okay, so we may have 30-inch TV, 35-inch, 45-inch, right? So for this I just consider my price as 18,000, 25,000, 35,000. Okay, so according to this data, this is my first row, first observation, right? So then this will be my first instance. Similarly, second instance, third instance, right? So this is what the instance clearly mean. Now going with the third point, target variable, right? A target variable is a synonym with the terms predictive variable, descriptive variable, response variable or dependent variables, where I have already used these terms like these variables in my structure of task video. So if you guys view that video, you can simply understand this, and it's not a problem if I okay, I just give that link in description. So go through that. Now with this TV pricing data, what the target variable means. Target variable. Okay. So now consider this same data. With this same data, I just move with a graph. Okay. So my X tends to size, Y tends to price. Okay. So I just consider this. Now, according to the target variable sense, so here what would be my price? Okay. What would be my price? That price denotes the target. Either it is a dependent variable or whatever. Response variable, predictive, right? So whatever, according to my price, the target, either it is response, predictive, dependent. Okay, so price is what we based on the size of TV, right? Price is based on the size of TV, right? That is what it is seen here clearly. So on the size of my TV, so that will be my target, right? That is what a clearly target variable means. So price will be denoted by the size, right? So I hope you guys are clear with these three terms: feature, instance, and target variable. So now I clearly go with the topic. So now consider we have these two, like this is a common example for any basic model of probabilistic model. Okay. So now in models of in models of machine learning, our second model is a probabilistic model. So generally many of these models are based on the simple example, only because for the type of probabilistic model, this is the basic concept which we need. Okay. So now let X denotes the variables. Right. Let X denotes the variables that are of type feature values and instances, and Y denotes the target variable that are of type class. Okay. Clearly consider these 2 points. X is the type of variables with feature values and instances, and Y denotes target variable with the feature value, with the type of class. Now the question is how to model a relationship between X and Y, right? So we just denote some X and Y values. So what is the relation? So how to model a relationship between X and Y? According to this example, when we know the feature value, right? By this example only we can clearly say when we know the feature value and instance, then only we'll be getting the target variable, right? So now as I denote X values as a feature values and instances, by that we get the target variable, right? So now simply consider this example. So when we know the feature value and instances, then only we can find a target variable. As I said, in 3 terms, here we consider some pricing data. By that data we clearly get out some feature and instances. So when we are known with the values of feature and instances, okay, so when we are known with the values of both feature and instances, then only we can find out the third term, target variable, right? I hope you guys are clear with the point. So now similarly by this example, so what we can say is, so now we are known with the X values, right? We are known with X value. So by knowing the X value only we can finding out the Y value. So this is how the case is known as posterior probability. That is what the answer resulted in, posterior probability. Fine. So what is meant by posterior probability? Let's go with this concept very clearly. So conditional probability P of Y by X. Okay, here we have the conditional formula of Bayes rule. Initially, to find the posterior probability, for the probability case, we have 2 types of decision rules. So that will be Bayes rule and Naive Bayes rule. By getting this Bayes rule, the simplified version of Bayes rule is nothing but a Naive Bayes rule. Okay, so now we have to derive the Bayes rule to a Naive Bayes rule. So how do we get that? For that, we have a conditional formula of Bayes rule. We have P of Y by X. So what is meant by P of Y by X? And why I wrote as P of Y by X means, so here our known value or available values, right? They are in X value, right? So based on the values of X, we'll be finding the value of Y. So when we have the known values, we represent, that means we place them in the denominator. Fine. So our X will be placed in the denominator, and whatever the values we have to be predicted, okay, so that will be represented in the numerator. That is why the conditional probability is represented as P of Y by X. And this is the case which is known to be posterior probability, where the condition is Y values always depends on X values. Okay, always prefer this condition, Y values depends on X value. That is what the case of posterior probability. Fine. So now to find out this probability case, we have, as I already said, we have two cases known as Bayes rule and Navier-Bayes rule. Now, so the conditional formula of Bayes rule is P of y by x equal to P into x by y into P of y by P of x. So here P of x by y is the likelihood function, P of y is the prior probability, and P of x is the evidence. So now, before going with this these three terms deeply, let me first get you know how do we get this conditional formula of Bayes rule. Fine. So how do we get this conditional formula? So for that, originally we have some formal rule of Bayes rule, right? Previously we have some formal rule. So the formal Bayes rule is P of A by B equal to P of A intersection B by P of A. Right? Sorry. Right. So now this is the original formal Bayes rule formula. Now I just flip this. Okay, I just flip this. Then we get what we get: P of B by A equal to P of B intersection A by P of B. Right? I just flip this formula, then we get this. So it doesn't make any difference between these two, right? It doesn't make any difference. Both are same. So now by this, as both the numerator components are same, right? Both the numerator components are equal. So I can take both the bottom one, right? Both the bottom one, substitute that in top, right? So that gives the probability of P of A by B equal to P of B by A into P of A, sorry, P of A by P of B, right? Okay, I just flip this and I just substituted the below one into the top one. Okay, then I get this probability formula. Again I just flip this formula. Okay, I just again flip this formula. Now we get P of B by A equal to P of A by B into P of B by P of A, right? So now write this in x and y terms. Okay, then we get P of y by x equal to P of x by y into P of y by P of x. Okay, likelihood function, prior probability, evidence, right? So you can check that both the formulas are same. So see here, right? So both the formulas are same. So now hope you guys are very clear with this formula. Now we can go with the clear these three terms deeply. Now what is meant by P of x by y? P of x by y is a likelihood function, right? So we will consider a class label. Based on that, we'll be finding to which class label particularly the attribute belongs to. Okay, in likelihood function, what we'll do first, we'll be considering a class label. Based on the value, that means based on that, we'll be finding to which class label particularly the attribute belongs to. Okay, clearly consider this point. Now, so for example of the likelihood function, what we can do is, I said we have applied for a bank loan. Okay, for example, you applied for a bank loan, then we will be having two cases. If the loan is processed genuine, okay, if the loan is processed genuinely, that will be case 1, and we may also have the fake case, right? So this will be case 2. Now in both these cases, if it is processed genuinely, then we'll be getting loan acceptance mail, right? If it is processed fake, also we'll be getting the loan acceptance mail, right? So we'll be having two cases. So in both of these mails, the word loan is common, right? But we don't know to which class that mail belongs to, and it's original or duplicate, so it belongs to spam or ham class, we don't know, right? So we consider a mail. In that mail, like by which particular word the mail is going to be spam mail or ham mail, so we'll be identifying that. So that is what the case is known to be a likelihood function. Hope you guys are clear, and I'll be again repeating this. Both these mails are presenting with the word loan, right? So it is common, but we don't know to which class that male particularly belongs to, either it is spam class or ham class, we don't know. So we're considering that male. In that male, by which particular word that male is going to be spam male, by which particular word it is going to be ham male, we don't know. So we have to identify that. That is what the case we'll be using this likelihood function. Now going with the P of y prior probability case. Yes, okay guys, clear. Now P of y is the prior probability, and we have a statement without observing data x. So what is the statement without observing data x? So here beforely we assign a fixed percentage of a class label. When we have a word, then it belongs to that particular class. Okay, so what it means clearly is, what we do is, here beforely we assign a fixed percentage for a class label. So what we do, for example, I said you have written some exam. Okay, in this case also we'll be having two cases. If you wrote well is the case 1, and if you wrote average, that will be case 2, right? So for this, beforely we'll be assuming some value, right? As a result for the exam, what we wrote, if we wrote well, we may give it as 80 to 90% marks, right? And if we wrote average, we may give 40 to 50% marks, right? So priorly we are assigning for that good or average class without having any second thought, right? Without having any second thought, we are just priorly assigning some values. So this is known to be case called prior probability, right? So hope you guys are clear. And now dealing with the P of x case, known as independent of y. So what is this P of x case? That means independent of y is, so here we have this evidence based on y value. That means P of x value is independent of y based on the y value. Okay. Now if the word present in the male, or if it is not present, okay, so if it is present in the male, the value will be 1. If it is not present, the value will be 0, right? So the evidence to fix our prior probability, that means when we get a particular class, then by an attribute we'll be judging how much the probability is supporting for us to get that particular class. So x is dependent on y. That means, so that is what the clear case. So I'll be repeating this again. Like what can say is, if the word is present, so I take a word lottery. If this word is present in that male, then the value will be 1. If it is not present, okay, if it is not present, then the value will be 0, right? So it is based on the y value, right? So then what x will be? X is the evidence to fix our prior probability. That means, so when we get a particular class, then by an attribute only we'll be judging how much the probability is supporting, okay, how much the class is favor to get that particular class. So for us to get that class, x is dependent on y, fine. And in some cases P of x is negligible, okay, in the normalization process and some other, P of x will be negligible, okay. So now how to find out this Bayes rule? So now we'll be going on with the step how to find out this Bayes rule. First I'll be considering how to finding out the maximum posterior probability. By that we deduct posterior odds, okay. Now how to find out this maximum posterior probability? Initially we have the Bayes rule, right? This is a conditional probability, right? Now I just convert this conditional probability into a maximum posterior probability. So how do I convert? What is our conditional probability? P of y by x equal to P of x by y into P of y by P of x, right? So now I just convert this into a maximum posterior probability. So that results in y map equal to argument max y with probability P of y by x, both the variables, and that results in argument max y into probability of x by y into P of y by probability of x, okay. So this is known as map decision rule. Okay, so I just converted this conditional probability into a maximum posterior probability. That is why it is written as Y map. Map is known as maximum, map decision rule. Okay, so Y map equal to argmax Y. That means Y map is equals to the argmax, that is maximum function of Y. Argmax is a maximum function of Y. That is in P of Y by X. Okay, in P of Y by X, for every X value we'll be finding some Y values. For every X value we'll be finding the Y values. Then which Y value got the highest value, that will be considered as a maximum Y value. Okay, for every X value considering the Y values, by which Y value will be getting the highest value, that will be considered as a maximum Y value. Okay, and we fix for that Y value as a specific class label. Specific class label. Here for the specific function of Y, as we neglect P of X, as I said, we neglect P of X in a normalization process, right? So if we neglect P of X in a normalization process, then we just perform the product of likelihood function and the prior probability. Okay, what we do, we just product the likelihood function with prior probability. Okay, so what does that clearly mean? We just considering these two, whatever the highest value we get, that will be fixed as a Y value, right? So next, by this we'll be getting a maximum likelihood function. So how we derive this maximum likelihood function means, okay, that results in YML. Okay, maximum likelihood function of Y. So argmax Y with probability of X by Y. Okay, so what I do here is, here I just eliminate this both P of Y and P of X. Okay, P of Y and P of X I just eliminated, I just ignore them. Okay, these both P of X and Y in these two cases, so I just reduce it and that finally I bring it into a maximum likelihood function. Okay, so why I am doing like this is, for this here we have a thumb rule. Okay, so what is a thumb rule mean? If you want to use, okay, if you want to use, or if you want to calculate all this stuff like what called likelihood functions. Okay, if you want to calculate these likelihood functions, so we have to know the likelihood function with the prior probability case, right? So if we want to use this likelihood function, or we have to calculate the likelihood function, so that is the case, we have to deal the things like, we have to ignore the prior distribution. Okay, what we have to do, we have to ignore prior distribution. Okay, case 1, or what we have to do, we have to assume P of Y as a uniform value. Fine, these are the two cases we have to do with. So our thumb rule is, first we have to ignore the prior distribution, or we have to assume P of Y as a uniform value. So to use the posterior distribution, we have to do with this. Okay, to use a posterior distribution, we have to ignore the prior distribution, or we have to assume P of Y as a uniform value. So hope you guys are clear. So if you have any doubts, please feel free to comment me below. Sure, I'll be answering for you over there. Now, yes, we are done with the posterior distribution. To do with this posterior distribution, then we'll be deriving the posterior odds. That is what our second point, right? Posterior odds. So what is our, we have a standard formula for posterior odds. That means, so posterior odds. So what is the posterior odds? We'll be assigning spam and ham values for both X and Y here. So probability of Y equal to spam by X by probability of Y equal to ham by X. That results in P of X by Y equal to spam by P of X by Y equal to ham into okay, product of likelihood functions, product of likelihood function, okay, product of likelihood function into the product of prior distribution, right? So this is a prior distribution, P of Y equal to spam by y equal to ham. Okay, so hope you guys are clear with this posterior odds formula. Okay, so posterior odds means it is a product of likelihood ratio with the prior odds. So now considering these both, then we multiply them. So then whatever the value is be resulted, whatever the ratio is resulted, that will be considered as a posterior odds, our final value. Okay, so why do we use this posterior odds means when we have only two classes. Okay, consider this case, when we have only two classes, then it is very convenient to do with the ratios, to work with the ratios like posterior probabilities or likelihood ratios. Okay, when we have only two classes. But if the case where we have to find to which particular class it is favoring. Okay, so the case what is, so when we come across with the case, so how much the data favors one among the two classes. Fine, how much the data favors one among the two classes. Okay, so this is what the particular case where we used to find out the posterior odds. Okay, so hope you guys are clear with this. Now from all this calculation, as we see with all this calculation, it is very clear that likelihood function plays a very important role, right? In a statistical machine learning, likelihood function plays very important role. So why likelihood function plays such an important role? Because it produces or like it establishes some generative model. Okay, a generative model is nothing but it is also a type of probabilistic model. So a simple way of probabilistic model to find out the things, we use a generative model. So that generative model is derived by a likelihood function. So it just establishes a generative model. Whatever the variables are involved in the probabilistic analysis, for all those variables we can just sample those values using a generative model. Okay, so to sample those values we use this generative model. Now to make it clear, so I just make a simple example. Like, okay, imagine you are given with a box with two buttons. Okay, two buttons in the sense it's a toggle case, either it is yes or no, like spam or ham. Okay, you are given with a box with two cases, spam or ham. Now if you press the ham button, it generates some random emails according to the probability of p of x by y equal to ham, right? So if you press the spam button, it generates the probability of emails like p of x by y equal to spam, right? So now what's the question? So what we put inside the box actually, right? Actually what we put inside the box. So now assume we have vocabulary of 10,000 words. Okay, we have a vocabulary of 10,000 words and I given you two bags containing 10k coins in each. Okay, two bags containing 10k coins in each. So now to generate these emails randomly, you choose your appropriate bag, right? So to generate these emails, we'll be choosing some appropriate bag depending upon which button was pressed. Okay, depending upon which button was pressed, and like we'll be going with the toss cases, right? So each of the coins to decide to which word it should be go with the email, right? So if it is head, toggle cases will be for a coin is like heads, tails, right? So if it is head, it is in. So if it is tail, it is out, right? So according to this approach, it is not necessarily fair play, right? Because to deal with this, either it is spam or ham, it will not be a fair play, right? Because we don't know how it results in. It's just a probability case. So for 10,000 coins, for 10,000 words, we'll be having some 10,000 probabilities, right? So for each coin, we have two probabilities. Either it is in or out. So for 10,000 coins, we will be getting 20,000 probabilities. So that results in 20,000 parameters, right? So for example, if loan is word present in the vocabulary, okay, for example, I consider loan is the word present in the vocabulary, then coin labeled lottery, okay, coin labeled lottery in the bag represents spam. Okay, if loan is the word I choose and coin with the word lottery represents spam, then what will be the case? It results in probability of loan. X value will be loan, y equal to spam, right? Similarly, if it presents as ham, then what will the probability? Loan, x value loan, y of y equal to ham, right? So hope you guys are understanding this. So by this we should clearly notice by using different coins for each word. Okay, we will be using different coins for every each word. By that we tactically assume that likelihood of individual words are independent within the same class, right? Likelihood will be likelihood of individual words for all these individual words. Likelihood of every individual word are independent within the same class. So if it is true, okay, if the cases will be true, if the case is true, then it allows us to decompose a joint likelihood. Okay, clearly consider this point, a very important thing. If the case is true, then it allows us to decompose a joint likelihood to a product of marginal likelihood. Okay, so I'll be explaining you this clearly with this topic. So now if it results like in the case, so now consider the case P of, I consider two different x values, okay, two independent x values. So my x values are bonus and loan by probability y equal to, that gives the result in P of bonus by y into P of loan by y, right? So I just decomposing of a joint likelihood into a product of marginal likelihood. So it refers simply as a Bayesian classifier, right? It's a simplification of Bayesian classifier, nothing but a Naive-Bayes classifier. So hope you guys are clear. We are done with the things. First we find out the maximum posterior probability by converting our conditional probability. Then with the posterior odds, I just converted the likelihood ratio functions as a marginal joint likelihood with the product of marginal likelihood. Okay, we are done with the likelihood function. Then a probabilistic model is derived into a, that means it generates a generative model, right? It establishes a generative model in a probabilistic model, because a generative model is also a type of probabilistic model. Fine. By that we clearly attain a simplified Bayesian model that is called a Naive-Bayes. So how do we do this is I clearly explain this again with a table. Yes, you can do with this table here. So now for the case we have of a marginal likelihood case. So I just consider some y values. Y value in the sense I consider some class label with a specific attribute. Okay. So class label like with a spam and ham. These are the cases. Some attributes like probability of lottery. If the word present, then it will be 1 by y. With P of lottery equal to 0 by y. So these are the two cases. Fine. So for this I just assign some values like 0 0.40, 0.12, 0.60, 0.88. Okay, I just consider these values. These are not any standard values. I just consider these values. So now here I have considered some specific class label with the specific attribute. Okay, so now I consider the word lottery given with the values of 1 and 0. So if the word lottery present, then it results in 1. If the word lottery doesn't present, it results in 0, right? So if the word is present in the mail, so then what the table says, there is a 40% of chance getting this as a spam mail, right? If the word is present, then we have a 40% of chance of getting it as a spam mail. And if the word is not present, then we have 88% of chance to getting it as a ham mails, right? Hope you guys can clearly understand. So when we use this individual independent words, okay, when we use these independent words, then so by that the chance of getting a different likelihood functions, we have the chance when we use these independent values, we will be having a chance of getting different likelihood values, right? By this it is resulted in different likelihood values. So for that we will be finding some marginal likelihood values. That is what I clearly stated here. What is that? Posterior odds, yes. Here. That is how we resulted with a Naive-Bayes classifier. Okay. by the likelihood values what it is resulted. For that we'll be finding a marginal likelihood. So that gives a Naive Bayes simplified classification. So here we'll be taking some different values of x, right? I just took some different values of x and then I product them. So now by those values we'll be finding out to which class it belongs to. Finally what we do, we'll be finding out to which particular class it belongs to. Okay, so every word will be taken into consideration and by their values we'll be finding particular class. So this is what only which we called as a Naive Bayes classifier. Okay, hope you guys are clear. Simple point is only the point in all of the cases is we are checking whether a word is present in the email or not, right? In all of the cases we are checking whether a word is present in the email or not. Suppose at the word lottery, we consider the word lottery, so it is present in the email or not, or the word bonus is present in the email or not, right? So in every case we are checking with the word present in the email or not, right? But in Naive Bayes classification we are counting how many number of times the word is present in an email. That is what the difference. Okay, so in Naive Bayes we are counting how many number of times the word is present in the email. So based on that only the counting, based on the counting only we'll be categorizing that email. Okay, we just categorize the email. So this is what the clear description of this Naive Bayes classifier. Hope you guys clearly understand this. నేను మళ్ళీ చెప్తున్నాను, చూడంగానే జస్ట్ గ్లాన్స్ లో అర్థమైపోవాలి టాపిక్ అంటే అర్థం అవ్వదు. బట్ చాలా సింపుల్, ఈ టాపిక్ అర్థం అవుతుంది. చూడంగానే సమ్ కన్ఫ్యూజన్ లా ఉంటది, బట్ కాన్సన్ట్రేటెడ్ గా మళ్ళీ వింటే క్లియర్ గా టాపిక్ అర్థమవుతుంది. చాలా సింపుల్ గా ఉంటది, ఏమీ క్లమ్జీ ఫీల్ అవ్వక్కర్లేదు. చూడంగానే లైక్ బిట్ క్లమ్జీ అనిపిస్తుంది, బట్ ద టాపిక్ ఈస్ వెరీ ఈజీ. కాన్సన్ట్రేటెడ్ గా చూస్తే మళ్ళీ మీకే అర్థమవుతుంది. సో డౌట్స్ అయితే ఖచ్చితంగా రేస్ అవుతాయి. సో ఇఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ ఎనీ డౌట్స్ ప్లీజ్ ఫీల్ ఫ్రీ టు కమెంట్ మీ బిలో. ష్యూర్ ఐల్ బి ఆన్సరింగ్ ఫర్ యూ ఓవర్ దేర్. నౌ ఫైనలీ ఐ జస్ట్ వాంట్ టు సే ద సింపుల్ కీ బెనిఫిట్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ probabilistic model. So what probabilistic model finally deals, what it does is, so finally it gives the information about uncertainty, right? We don't have clear thing here. So that is what I said, it may be a bit clumsy. So it gives the information about uncertainty linked with some predictions. As I already said in earlier, we'll be having some predictions, right? Uncertainty with some predictions. So by this we get an idea of how confident the machine learning model is on its predictions, right? For example, if the probabilistic model classifier allocates a probability of 0.9 for the class of dog, okay, consider this thing, a probabilistic model classifier given with the class dog, okay, and it is given with the probability of 0.6 earlier. But with the classification, the machine learning model is very clear and that gives the probability as a 0.9. This means what it says, it is very extra confident that the particular class is dog. Okay, so that is what a probabilistic model do with the machine learning thing. That is how a probabilistic machine model will be such an extra confident to deal with the classes. Fine. So hope you guys are clear with the video. So if you have any doubts, please feel free to comment me below. Sure, I'll be answering for you over there. So that's it for today's video. Thank you.